What am I doing? I'm making a present for Mommy. Let's do this. Hey!
Hi!
Hi! Crazy guy. So St. Patrick's Day has a long and storied history in our family. St. Patrick's Days are like wine. Some years are better than others. So a long time ago, St. Patrick's Days were just a fun day to wear green and to avoid getting pinched. But right around the age of 21 years old, it started to take on a different meaning. At 21, which would have been 2001, my roommates and I would go to this bar called Dublin's. And Dublin's was just the best. It was the best Irish bar in all of Los Angeles. And we would show up early, like be the first ones in line at 5:30 in the morning, get in the door, get a table, because if you had a table, you were a god. You were a golden god. And we would just get a table, and girls, for the right to sit next to us for like 15 minutes and order a drink and then be on their way, would make out with us to pay the price. And that was just great. And I still remember my first year there, like there's a thatched roof, and the sun was just kind of coming over it, and the sky was just clear and blue, and it was beautiful. I was like, I want to do this the rest of my life. It's so happy. So the next year, 2002, I was working on the set of Old School. We were filming the scene with Snoop Dogg in at the frat house. You know, Snoop Dogg's at the frat house. There's like 300 people in the crowd, and yeah, so we did that. So it was a 2-day call on Old School. It was a Saturday and a Sunday, and Sunday was St. Patrick's Day. I needed the money. I desperately needed the money. I normally would not work on a St. Patrick's Day, but I needed the money. And so there's a trick in the world of extras where they give you a voucher at the beginning of the day, and at the end of the day, somebody signs your voucher, and that's how you get paid. In the meantime, you can do whatever you want. You can go wherever you want. I snuck off the set of Old School. I climbed a barbed wire fence and jumped over it, and went over to Dublin's. So I get to Dublin's, but clearly we're not the first ones in line anymore, because it's like 9:30 in the morning instead of being 5:30 in the morning. So I get there and I call up my buddies. I'm like, "Hey, where's the table? I just got here." And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, dude, I'm working." Okay, next up, "Where's the table?" "Oh, I'm sorry, dude, I slept in." Fuck. "Hey, I just got here. Where's the table?" "Oh, I was gonna ask you that. I'm still on my way over there." "Fuck! We don't have a table! We don't have a table! Oh my god!" So I'm looking around, and I finally find this table full of women in their late 20s. There's a lot of offices on the Sunset Strip that like go up and down the Sunset Strip that are like really high-end kind of places, and it kind of looked like, hey, maybe these are some just high-end people that like they walked in, and right as they walked in, some people got up and left their table, and they just swooped in and took it. They're gonna eat some lunch there, maybe have a few drinks, and then go back to their offices. And so I moseyed up to them, and I sat down, started talking with them, and talking. And at some point, I actually throw out, "Hey, DreamWorks is paying for my alcohol today," because it was, Old School's a DreamWorks movie. "DreamWorks is paying for my alcohol today." And I wave around the voucher, and they all, all the women at the table get this kind of like giggly look, like, like Asian schoolgirls, like, "Hey, we know something you don't know." And I'm like, "Oh, come on. Tell me the story. What's going on? Like, what's going on here?" One of them turns to me and points to one of the ladies and says, "That is Jeffrey Katzenberg's assistant, and you are totally fucking busted, mister." And I'm just, oh my god, oh god. I almost got up and ran away from the table, but like within like 10 seconds they broke and all started laughing, and I started laughing. So, yeah, so hours go by, and I'm still waiting to get the table, but I'm, it's not like I'm like, gritting my teeth waiting for it. I'm actually having a good time with these women. So hours go by, and little did I realize, they were there when the bar opened, and they were going to be there when it closed. But I was having a great time with them, and there was one in particular that I kind of liked. And I remember at one point I turned to the woman and I said, this is a line I used to use on women back then, which was, you don't know what you've gotten yourself into. Get ready for the Ben ride, And I said that to her, and she looked right back at me, right square in the eye, and said, "You don't know what you've gotten yourself into." Nobody had ever said that before. So that was interesting. And so when 7 o'clock rolled around, it was like, hey, I need to go back to the set. I need to get my voucher signed. But if you're not doing anything later, I'd love to come by. And she said, no, you are either coming home with me right now, or you're never going to see me again. And I was like, I need the money. I need to get paid. I told you what's going on. You either need to come with me, or you're never going to see me again. All right. And that was the best $75 I've ever spent in my life. If it's not obvious by now, that woman's name was Marie Walsh. So we went home. That night I went home with her. So that night I went home with her, and that got this all started. So the next year, 2003. So 2003, again, St. Patrick's Days are like wines. Some years are better than others. This was a great year. So we arrive, we're like one of the first ones there, we get the table. We get just this great 8-person table. We have it all to ourselves. It's me, Marie, Kirsten Maloney, Tim, Rod, our gay best friend couple. And we get in there, and we've got the flare on. We actually have pictures of this one. We've got the flare on, and we are just having a great time. And the news comes up to us and is like, "Hey, we need to interview some people for St. Patrick's Day, and you two are clearly St. Patrick's Day. So why don't you guys we'll do an interview with you?" And we did. It was great. So we're sitting there, we're having a great time. Kirsten Maloney chowing on her Lucky Charms. And one of our favorite bands was this band Flogging Molly. And Flogging Molly was they took old Irish tunes, but then set it to hard rock and roll, hard electric guitars. And it was just da 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 da. And we hear them playing, and it's oh, cool, they're playing Flogging Molly. And then, after the first song ends, we hear a guy kind of talking, and then another Flogging Molly song plays. And as soon as it's over, we hear talking again, and we're like, wait a second. So I get up and I walk into the next room, and Flogging Molly is playing in the next room. It's 9 in the morning. Well, obviously, so at 9 in the morning, they start playing. By 9:45, they stop playing because the singer was too drunk to continue. He's literally just laying on the floor here we are at Dublin's this year. What a great time it is. It was classic. Classic St. Patrick's Day. Made the rounds. I like to make the rounds. Just go around and just toast random people on St. Patrick's Day. Move along, Made the rounds. It was a great St. Patrick's Day. I would say it's the best one we had at Dublin's ever. So when we got near the end of our time at Dublin's, we decided to go over, do some local drinking before we headed home. So we went over to Ireland's 32, met our friends Tim and Rod over there, and going over to Ireland's 32, we had to drive through the mountains, and there's just these sun-caked mountains that were just winding through, and it was just beautiful. It was amazing. It was that same feeling of sacredness I got from watching the sun coming over the thatched roof. It was the same thing. It was amazing. We get over to Ireland's 32. We have a few more drinks. Fortunately, it's walking distance from our house because not too long after that, we started a ballyhoo tradition of Ben passing out halfway through the day. So 2004. 2004 was a sad year. That was a down year. For reasons unrelated to each other, I didn't leave LA because I didn't like Marie. I needed to leave LA. She wanted to stay there. It wasn't worth uprooting her life to come move with me yet. We split up, but we still liked each other. It was sad. But St. Patrick's Day, I still felt the need to be in Dublin's. And so it flew into Dublin's. We don't have any pictures of this one. Flew down to Dublin's, spent the day with them, had fun, but there was kind of a, somber feeling in the air. And little did we realize that was our last time at Dublin's. Not too long after that, Dublin's was shut down. We were just waiting for it to open again, but it never did. Apparently there were a lot of fights that broke out in Dublin's, and they wouldn't cooperate with the police, so the police shut them down. End of story. So that was our last time at Dublin's, and Dublin's was our favorite Irish bar by far. none of them have ever been as good. They've never come close. But since Dublin's was shut down and we needed a place to drink on St. Patrick's Day, which takes us to 2005. By 2005, I'd moved back to Los Angeles. The thought of sitting by the pool with a Corona and Marie was too good to pass up. I had to do it. So we had to find another bar. Well, there's 5 Irish bars in all of Los Angeles. One of them is a place called Timmy Nolan's, where we knew somebody that knew the owner there. So we were able to get good seats there, but it's a tiny place in Burbank. This is another down year. It's a tiny place in Burbank. I mean, you could probably fit about maybe 50 people in the entire bar, and so we got a great spot. We got a prime spot, sitting on a table right in the front, and because we knew the owner, they gave us a bunch of t-shirts to give away, like a stack of like 30 t-shirts with Tullamore Dew on them, and I still have like 5 or 6 of those. So we got to hand out those t-shirts to anybody that wanted them, and that was cool, but wow, that's about it. Oh, and there was, one of Marie's friends brought her baby daughter, which was really ridiculously cute. So there was that. And there was a bunch of firemen over there that the firemen, Kirsten Maloney was very interested in the firemen. But that was it. It was kind of a slow year. I mean, it was... it's a Burbank bar, and Burbank is like known as being like Square Town. It's as square as Los Angeles gets, so that's what it was. So 2006. So 2006 was the longest we had gone without getting to the bar in the morning. We got to the bar at like noon or 1, with good reason, because earlier that morning I had proposed to Marie. I gave her the ring, and then we took a 6-hour road trip up to San Francisco from Los Angeles. I worked at a court reporting company called Barkley, and Barkley had a branch office up in San Francisco that happened to be at a building that was on top of the annual St. Patrick's Day Festival, which is held on that block because there are like 3 Irish bars down there, like literally just right beneath us. So we got some prime spot to like listen to some music and listen to, everything going on. We hung out with some people and just passed around shots, and some people I work with. There was a court reporter who was bragging about her, like drunkenly bragging about her accuracy. She's like, "I am the best! I am the best! I got 100% on my accuracy tests! Take it!" And there may or may not have been some mooning of the crowd beneath us. I cannot confirm or deny any of this. After hitting the bars, we eventually went to sleep, woke up the next day, drank delicious wine for the first time in our lives, and appreciated it. Which set the stage for the next year, 2007.
Ben, what's that?
It's a phone. So this takes us into 2007. 2007.
No.
Well, we got married that year. We got married on that one. So that was in Vegas. I had originally accidentally, drunkenly proposed in Vegas, and then felt the need to actually back that up at some point. I was like, "Baby, let's get married. Let's go get married." And she was like, "I'm not going to get married while you're drunk." So I was like, "All right." The next morning I woke up and I was like, "Baby, change the battery pack. Are you fucking kidding me?" Which this takes us into 2007. So I had proposed in Vegas. We decided that, he's a crazy guy. So we decided that, we needed to finish the job there. So we went to the Bellagio, at the time the fanciest casino in Vegas. Went to the Bellagio and we got married there. So it was a destination wedding. As many people as we knew that could make it came out. So one of the things that's like common amongst, St. Patrick's Days is it usually happens right during the heart of March Madness. So there's always something going on in the background. Well, this year was a bigger deal because, it's March Madness in Vegas. So it was just insanely packed with people. It was a buzz. Everybody's going nuts. And there was this buzz about these guys that were walking, like armies, like whole armies walking around in kilts and tuxedo tops that were just, these guys were prettier than the women. We had a big champagne toast in the main room, and then we're turned loose for the dancing. Just like my wife the night before, Marie had shut down the piano bar at the New York Casino when Baby Got Back started playing, and she did a dance that we've heard legends of. It stopped the entire piano bar. Everybody just stopped to watch this. I think at one point she was playing the piano with her butt. Yeah. After we got married, we went over to an Irish bar at one of the casinos and got schnockered. The band started playing and I started dancing and jigging to it and everything. And there was a part where like the band was playing this like instrumental part and like I was dancing really hard to the instrumental part. Yes. Hello, Irishman. There was a part where they were dancing. I was dancing in this instrumental part, and so I started dancing really hard to it, and they started playing faster and faster and faster, and I kept having to dance faster and faster to it, and kept going faster and faster, and they kept extending this, like, I could tell, like, normally, like, they would have ended the instrumental part by then, but they just kept riffing on it, because they saw me dancing and going for it, and I chugged a beer at one point during it, and, like, kept going, shut down that bar, everybody's watching, and, so by the end of it, I did what anybody else would do. I vomited gloriously. Not in the room. I made it down the hall. And by the end of it all, we were married. So now we're getting into 2008. So 2008, it was our first time in Chicago. So in 2008, it was our first time in Chicago. And we were all like, oh my god. What? Chicago is literally the most Irish, non-Irish fucking place in the world. And we were just going to party like it's 1999, so like 10 years ago. So 2008, we get to Chicago. We show up first thing in the morning. We're the first ones in line. We're like, wow, there's nobody else in line. This is great. And we're all cocky. And we get in and we're like, where are all the people at? Where's everybody at? And when we finally did the math, it was, there's 5 Irish bars in all of Los Angeles. But there's like 1,000 bars in like a 5 square block radius alone. And so it's like, whoa, oh my God. Like, everybody's at all the other bars. Like, there's like 3 people in every bar, as opposed to like all the 1,000 people going to one bar. There's like thousands of people going to thousands of bars. So there's like 3 people in every bar. And so it was, to be perfectly honest, mildly disappointing. The only thing that was really, really awesome about it, everybody we knew was there. All of our friends, all the ones that could not make it to LA because of the 2,000 mile gap, whatever. That's what was up with that. And so that's where we went. We go to this place, Fado, which ends up becoming our favorite downtown place. And it's, Fado is Gaelic for once upon a time. And Fado was awesome. Like, we found a place between the first floor and the second floor that was just like made for us. And we went there and it was great. And so that's what we do. Like, we saw all of our Chicago friends, all of our Iowa friends, everybody. So 2009, we liked the Fado experience enough that we go back to Fado. Had a great time, lots of people there. We started a short-lived tradition that year of rating people's outfits. Like, we had like signs like 1 through 10. And like anytime somebody would pass through our area between the first and the second floor, we'd rate their outfit. Oh, boo, you have a terrible outfit. Oh, it's a great outfit, yay. But eventually it was decided that was too harsh and, was discriminatory against the people who didn't take St. Patrick's Day seriously, and so we just got away from that. But that was a good year for my career because my boss had given me his car one time to there was an emergency deposition that got called in. I had to drive out to it. So he gives me his car. Well, in his car, he's got a hitter box, like right in the passenger seat. And so, or right in the driver's side area. And so I knew he was a stoner. So when he comes up, like my boss just randomly walks into the bar and we see each other and we're both like, oh fuck. oh God, I can't believe I just saw him. Now we have to talk to each other. And so we started talking to each other, but it turned out good. Like, so I go, and I knew because of the hitter box that he smokes. So I offered him some smoke. And he was all excited about that and was so happy. And he was like, my friend died. I just came from his wake. And now I got to smoke with you. And this is great. And that turned out to be really good for my career. So by 2010, are old and tired. And it's time to go someplace local. So we find a local Irish bar in Downers Grove, which is a hotbed of Irishness. And the Downers Grove Ballydoyle is where we go. And it's small enough and local enough that we were able to take O'Reilly with for at least, I think they banned kids after 3 o'clock. And so we had O'Reilly for the first part of the day, which I'm sure he doesn't remember any of it. It's our first Ballydoyle. Really kicking music there. Really nice. If we ever want to do a local one, Ballydoyle's the place. They have a special called Kegs and Eggs. Kegs and Eggs, which is perfect with our drinking first thing in the morning. You can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning. This might be the first one where Griff and Joe and Homer and Joe came out. It's two Joes. Different genders and types. 2011! 2011 was the first time Andy, Marie's best friend in life, and the one that said, "You are totally fucking busted, mister," when we first met. Andy made it to Chicago for the first time in 2011, and it was glorious. Now, 2011 is also notable for the fact that, so Jessica, my sister, arrived, I don't know, whatever, a little after 5 o'clock. So Jessica arrives after 5 o'clock with her friend. Other than Jessica and her friend who arrived after 5 o'clock, every other woman there threw up or passed out at some point, except my baby girl, except for Marie. At one point I remember turning to her and just saying, "Baby, I'm so glad that you are the only woman here who can comport herself. That makes you hot." "2012! Oh, this was a good year. This was probably the best one in the history of Chicago St. Patrick's Days. It was like the perfect storm of St. Patrick's Days. It was like when we moved to Chicago and we're like, dude, Chicago is going to be great for St. Patrick's Days. Oh my God, I can't wait. This is what we pictured on St. Patrick's Day. It was a Saturday, so everybody was out. It was 80 degrees out of nowhere. It was just beautiful. And so it's Saturday, it's 80 degrees. We usually show up at the bar at 9 a.m. because that's when it opens. That's when Fido opens. And we get there at 9 a.m. And there's a line across the fucking block. Oh no! We've lost our area. The only reason why we get the space between the first and the second floor is because we get there early and get in line. And when we showed up at 9 in the morning, there's a line around the fucking block. What do we do with that? Oh my God, we're never going to get our spot. Well, we get in there. We get up to the spot between the first and the second floor, and we look really pathetic. And some people were like, "Hey, we're only here for breakfast. We're going to be leaving really soon. Do you want our spot?" And we were like, "Fuck yes." It was a St. Patrick's Day miracle. A miraculous miracle. By the way, a wacky story about the St. Patrick's Day. So in 2008, our St. Patrick's Day, we made love earlier that night, or we made love on that night. And what was scheduled to be 9 months after that, we had our first child, O'Reilly. In 2012, alright, so follow me on this. This is crazy bullshit. But so on St. Patrick's Day, we don't actually do anything. But then a month later, we're doing in vitro. We put the babies in, and their due date is the same due date as O'Reilly's, December 10th, which means that 9 months earlier was St. Patrick's Day. So, in a bizarre, convoluted way, we conceived the kids on St. Patrick's Day, despite the fact that we weren't even in the same room when it happened. 2013, those twins that we conceived on the previous St. Patrick's Day, through quantum entanglement, action at a distance. So they came with us to St. Patrick's Day that year. We went to the Carrie Piper, a local bar near where I grew up, and we had a great time with them. They were just effing cute, and it was the first time my mom had been there for a St. Patrick's Day, which was also adorable because she doesn't drink. She just kind of looks at everybody and smiles and is really proud, and that's awesome. And that's what we did that year. 2014. 2014 was probably our weakest St. Patrick's Day. My dad and I went out early in the morning, and it was great. Marie was really, really sick, like really dying sick. And so she came out for an hour to keep the streak alive, and we took some beautiful pictures, and that was the end of that. And then we went home. We were at the Ballydoyle, so it was really local, and it was really fun and taken care of. This was the first year of Green Man. Green Man is Green Man. Green Man is walking up and down the court. Green Man is walking up and down the court, motherfucker. Green Man. Tie to tie to tie to tie, Green Man. Tie to tie to tie to tie, Green Man. Nothing more needed to be said about Green Man. So 2015 was tragic. But we had found out at 7:30 that morning my cousin Jimmy's daughter Eleanor had died in a tragic accident. I mean, it was really hard to be excited that St. Patrick's Day. It was very sad. It was very sad. Well, on a positive note, it was V's first appearance. Yay. We lasted a few hours and then took off. In 2016 was our return to Fido, and it was a good return. So Marie's friend, Lori, came with us, and it was awesome. We had a great time. So in that spot between the first floor and the second floor, there was a bunch of Irish people, legitimately Irish, that sat on that area with us, and we had a great time with them. And one of them was really interesting, Lori. So 2016, I was fucking too fat for my kilt. Do you know how fucking fat you have to be too fat for your fucking kilt? I mean, it's a piece of fabric wrapped around you. It's like being too fat for a toga. Like, what the fuck? I'm too fat for my toga? Because I couldn't fit in my fucking kilt. I had to turn to my second best lower body covering alternative, which was obviously the Pants of Destiny. I put on these pants, and it was literally Cubs pants with St. Patrick's Day, like it was green and had like St. Patrick's Day shit on it, but also Cubs logos. And I remember saying, these are the pants of destiny. Like, these are the pants that are going to take us all the way. And it turned out I was right. Here we are, 2017. Now, 2017 is clearly the most memorable St. Patrick's Day. Now, 2017 is clearly the most memorable. Now, 2017 is clearly the most memorable St. Now, 2017 is clearly the most memorable St. Patrick's Day because it's happening right now, and I'm remembering right now really easily. I mean, I remember everything about it, even the stupid stuff. Whereas, like, the rest of the stuff, I just remember the good stuff, or like the memorable stuff, like stuff that's bad, but you remember it, you know? Like, That's all I remember. But here we are. And that's why we're here. Fucking cheers. I want to tell the rest of the story like this. What a fucking day. By the way, I'm a genius for fucking saying, hey, all my anniversaries are on St. Patrick's Day. We met on St. Patrick's Day. We kissed for the first time on St. Patrick's Day. We made love for the first time on St. Patrick's Day. I proposed on St. Patrick's Day. We got married on St. Patrick's Day. We conceived all the children on St. Patrick's Day through natural and unnatural means. So all I have to do, if we're at the bar at 9 a.m., is turn to my right and say, hey, baby, happy St. Patrick's Day. But otherwise, I wouldn't remember any one of those days. I barely remember Mother's Day, and it's only because Marie's not there to remind me of it, and I love her. And I need her. I need her as much as I love her. Oh, man. She's asking me right now if I'm hungry and if I want a sandwich. Yes. I texted you an order, right? They haven't eaten, so get the babies. See, I love you. That was her looking out for me. I love her. I was home. Just my perfect woman. And by the way, you should turn around right now and see what your man is doing